Welcome, family. It's everything apple time all through the month of September. In this post, I want to share with you a recipe that I found on Pinterest. It's an apple pork roast, and it really is delicious. So this is the first time I've made this. I've taken 2 pork roasts out of the freezer. I've got the grandkids coming over for dinner, and I'm going to be using apples, cinnamon, salt, pepper, thyme, honey. And it's a very easy recipe. All you have to do to prep is to make cuts in the top of the pork roast about 1 inch to 1.5 inches apart with a sharp knife. And you can see that I'm doing that with this. And then we're going to be taking the 2 Granny Smith apples and cutting those into wedges. And I've also got a yellow onion that we'll chop up and put in the bottom of the crock pot. So I'm just taking my sharp knife and cutting the apple into wedges, and then we're going to take that apple and just put it right inside that slit. Now, pork roast is one of my favorite meats. It's like the other white meat other than chicken. It's just so delicious. And this recipe really made it tender. Alright, you just put the apples in all of those slits, as you can see that I'm doing here. And in the crock pot, down in the bottom of the crock pot, we're going to layer the rest of the other apple and about 1/2 of a yellow or sweet onion, whatever you have. That's really going to add a lot of flavor to this pork roast. So after I've got it all layered with the apple and onion, I'm going to pick up the pork roast, place it in the crock pot. Now I have 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and then 1/2 teaspoon of thyme. And I'm just stirring that all up, and I'm just going to carefully sprinkle it all across the top of the pork roast. And I never would have imagined putting thyme with cinnamon, but it was really very good. And now I'm going to take some raw honey and just drizzle over the top. Now the recipe called for about 1/3 cup of honey, but I just took my honey and just drizzled it across the top, coating it very well. And then the last thing you need is some pats of butter to go on top of this. So I took a stick of butter, cut it into small little pats, and put it all on top of the pork roast. And that's it. It's a very easy meal to put together. You put it in the crock pot for about 4 hours. I actually had to check mine after about 3 hours, and it looked pretty done to me, but my crock pot's not working correctly. It cooks everything on high, but there it is. It's not pretty, but I'm telling you, that is really delicious. I took some of the broth that was down in the bottom and I just poured it over top. It was so tender and so moist, and the cinnamon and the apple gave it a very good flavor. So we had this with some mac and cheese and some baby lima beans, and the little guys were very happy and cleaned their plates. So give this a try, apple pork roast. It is a delicious recipe that I have on my Everything Apple Pinterest board. So thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for more ideas using apple all month long. Thank you for subscribing, and share this video with someone that you know that loves pork roast.